Welcome back to Mayor's Monday on WSAU.com with Mayor Robert Mielke of the City of Wausau.
Good morning, everybody.
Mr. Mayor, the city recently announced an Illumination event on the East Riverfront coming on Sunday, August 20th. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what that's about?
Well, what that is a kickoff as far as the Riverfront development, as far as the parks and everything like that that's coming. The bridge being done, the trailway and everything like that. It's the start of, if you will, the real impetus, if you will, as far as the rest of the park and everything down there. It's going to be lit up. I'm going to be waving my magic wand to turn everything on. Most of the summer we've been doing a lot of work as far as the electrical, fiber optics, stuff like that. And so now we're going to be kicking it into gear, so to speak, and watch by 2019. It's going to be incredible.
Okay. Anything specific that people can look for down there on
There's
the 20th?
A lot of things coming. Well, on the 20th, like I said, it's a start basically, and we're doing it on purpose in regards for the eclipse as well. So that way, when we light it up, it will be seen. Things are coming next year as far as different playground equipment from one end to the other. The Franz development is starting in October. The condominiums and the office space and retail outlets over there, from which I understand the first 2 floors or so have been sold out or are at least awfully close. So that's another exciting thing happening on the riverfront. It's going to be a family-friendly event, and I invite everybody to come down.
And I understand you're looking for sponsorship opportunities for some of the things. Is that like
Different parts
like
of
a
the
local
park.
business donating one of the playground
Right.
equipment pieces?
And we've already had a lot of participation of will as far as like the different foundations, some of the larger employers in town and companies. They've already come forward and pledged money as far as different parts of the park. And that availability is still there. If anybody else wishes to contribute, by all means, please do so.
Sure.
It is a community thing, so, participation is great.
This past Monday, the Parks and Recreation Committee took a look at a couple of potentially controversial issues. One of them, the possibility of expanding the alcohol ban that's currently in place on the 400 block to the new parklands that'll be on the East Riverfront. Now, they decided not to do that. There was only one person on the committee who thought that that was an idea worth having. Where do you sit on that?
Well, personally, and Mr. Nutting brought that forward as far as consideration the other night. I was a little surprised nobody else on the Parks and Rec went forward with it. Now, to be fair, we've just kind of opened up that area behind the library. This is the Year of the Arts. I proclaimed at the beginning of this year. We've got a stage down there now for people to punk out and play and do whatever they want to with instruments. And on Sunday nights, it's wonderful with different events and stuff like that. It's really starting to take shape. I do, however, it's like last year with the 400 block. When I brought that forward for the council to consider, because we had such bad behavior there, I think I was in office less than 2 months, and I just got tired of seeing it. So we brought it forward, the police completely agreed, and we were able to come to a compromise as far as no alcohol before 4 o'clock. We cleared up the problem downtown, which made the downtown residents and merchants very happy. I'm also a realist. I know that we transfer the problem, say to Bull Falls, and that gazebo. And now I'm hearing issues that we have something going on over by Hammond Park, which for the record is being addressed by the police. In regards to the area though behind the library, I will agree with what Mr. Gisselman stated, that since we just started it this year, now they did designate that area as a park Monday night. Gary brought up a very good point in the sense, okay, let's see what happens. It's almost the end of the season, face it, I hate to say it, summer's almost over with, unfortunately. But I really believe, and I'm going to push for, that we designate that area, probably something similar to the 400 block, say no alcohol before 4 o'clock. We'll get to smoking here in a second. But yeah, I guess I do want to have it somewhat controlled. I realize we've got an issue and a problem with some individuals. They just want to make a day of it getting hammered. I think it's unacceptable. I'm limited as far as what we can do as far as ways to curb that. You can't enforce bad behavior, if you want to call it that, as far as trying to stop it. But anyway, the other thing that we were going to bring up, further down the area on the riverfront, there's different paths, different sections, and those are yet to be determined as far as, okay, do we have an alcohol ban here? How far down do we go? Now down towards the riverfront development, we will have an alcohol ban. And that's not to say I'm anti-alcohol. I like a drink every now and then too, but just the same, not to the excess that some individuals seem to carry with that. A smoking ban. I personally think there should be a smoking ban, be it like at 400 block.
And just to make sure that people understand, there was also a smoking ban proposed by Tom Neal, older person Tom Neal, who none of the other committee members agreed with that. But it was to limit hours of smoking or even just ban smoking entirely downtown, which I think that they agreed that it would be hard to enforce.
I think that would be too hard to enforce. I actually, believe it or not, do think that's infringing on some people's rights. There are a lot of considerate smokers. That being said, I look at the 400 block. Every day, Park Department is down there 2 hours picking up cigarette butts from people in the night or the day before. And that's not just after events, that's almost every day. That's ridiculous. I've also got other areas of downtown where cigarette butts are being thrown all over. They're kind of their own worst enemy. I also worry about it from a safety factor. I've seen it happen before. I've seen kids get brushed. I'm sure it was done on accident, but brushed with a cigarette on the cheek or stuff like that. I'm not going to allow that to happen. I think we can find a compromise. I don't know if an outright ban on smoking completely is the right way to go, but certainly limited to different times.
I understand that now is the time that a lot of departments are taking a look at their budgets, that you're taking a look at the budgets.
We started in July, yep.
Yeah, getting the annual budget together
And
for
very
next year.
frankly, I told director at department head meeting here back in June, and then also remind them in July, frankly, unless you really need it, don't go overboard. And I'm very happy to report the CIP process, the wish list, if you want to call it that. Department heads have really narrowed it down as far as what they really honestly do need. And we'll go through the budget process. We're still waiting to hear back from the state as far as what we're eligible for. We're one of two states that don't have a budget yet. A little frustrating. Hopefully they'll get that resolved here pretty quick. I think they will. And then we'll find out what we're entitled to. I guess I look at it, since we pay into the fund, we should be getting our money back as well.
Are there some improvements that stand out to you right now in the early process that departments have asked for that you think there's a pretty good chance that they will get?
Everybody that has requested something, they're legit. I look at the police department. Theirs is just a follow-up as far as a replacement, and we've been doing it successively over a couple of years period as far as their radios, and this will be the last year that they need that. Fire department, a couple of different things that they needed. DPW, they've always got projects going on. I mean that in a good way, but they've requested things that need to be done. Our transit center needs a new roof. It's needed for years. And the longer you put this stuff off, the more in the long run you're going to end up paying for it. The biggest thing that I'm trying to think of, there are programs for our IT department, internet technology, and software that we really do need, and not just for the city, but since we work with the IT department in conjunction with both the healthcare center and the county government, this is something that's going to benefit everybody, not just in Wausau, but throughout the entire county, if you will. And we do have software that really needs to be addressed and put into place. And that, I think, is where we're probably going to be spending the most, at least from what I see at this point.
Do you foresee any kind of raise on property taxes?
That's still too early to tell. I'm keeping it to the lowest level possible. I know I'm going to get beat up for this one, I think most people accept the fact. I don't like paying taxes either. However, it's one of those necessary evils if you want to live in a decent, civilized society. But that is my job to hold the line. And as I said before, back in June and July at the department head meetings, unless you don't need it, don't put it in there. And so I think what has been brought forward are legitimate requests and items that are needed. That's still too early for me to answer that. I'm not trying to get around it. I'm
Sure.
just not going to mislead you. It's too early to tell.
I understand.
But if it is, it's not going to be overly significant, I guess, if I can answer that. Laugh if you will, people, but just the same. No, that's my job, is to try to control the costs, being CEO of the city, but I'm also a realist. There are items that we need in order to function. And I think most people accept that. If it's within line and it's realistic and it's going to benefit, most people are going to understand and do the right thing. There's always that small vocal minority, we're never doing anything right. Okay, you're entitled to your opinion.
Anything coming up on your calendar in the next month, besides the Illumination event? Anything in the city that you'd like people to know about?
Well, I know for the city and the city council, and we've off to a good start again this year, just like last year. We started off with the budget, but different things that are going on. Once again, the Riverfront, it's really going to kick into gear here starting in the fall. Like I said, we got the Franz development coming. There's always something happening as far as different events. I know coming up, we got the Blues Fest coming up. I know we have the Ginseng Festival coming up at the end of September. That'll be really exciting. I know Bull Falls has got their Oktoberfest. Oh my gosh, there's just so many different things. Beer and bacon, which I personally like. I'm going to that again this year. There's so many different things and events happening here in Wausau. There's always something to do on the weekends. And it's a draw, not just for local residents. We get people from out the state, but also the Midwest to come here. And we're told repeatedly, and this is just not some BS publicity type of thing. We're told repeatedly, wow, this is wonderful. This is truly cool and unique. And once again, we're going to encourage that and do whatever we can to attract folks. And we're having a lot of good things happening. And in a good, positive way, and that's the way we want to do it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care.